name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome to Page by Page, Writing the Book in Real Time. We are at episode 24, and I'm really excited about this chapter. I'm stoked, that's all.
I am very excited about the chapter too.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we're in agreement there.
Because I saw, so he types notes in the margins as he's
you saw
editing.
one of these?
I caught a glimpse of one of his notes, and I am really excited to get to answer it. So
okay.
I wanted to confess that I had slightly cheated.
Okay, great. But this is not the one where you said, no, we're not talking about that yet, right? Because I cut that.
No.
Okay, good.
No.
I was like, that's the one I cut. So if you're excited about it, too bad.
Top secret information.
All right. So before we get into the last time on, I want to introduce the beer of the week.
I love the beer of the
this is Golden Draak. This is another beer from Belgium. No, I cannot pronounce the brewery. My apologies. So cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that one keeps going.
I did want to say
that keeps giving.
It does.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like,
honestly, I can't taste it because I started a sentence and distracted myself, so I no longer have any sensation in my mouth.
Go again.
Oh, yeah, that is quite lovely.
It hits you on the back of the tongue, and then it creeps toward the front, which is really strange. Okay,
yeah, it's got like malty in the back, pruny in the front.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit nice.
No, what I wanted to say, because I know that some people may not stick around for all of the things, also wait to the end of the episode.
Oh.
But because this is coming up very soon.
Yes.
This weekend, it's the 17th.
Sure.
Friday for Central Florida Comic-Con in Lakeland, Florida. I am running a world building panel. So if you are going to be at the Central Florida Comic-Con, come check out the panel on Friday. Other than that, I just found out that I am going to be up in the DC area for an event this summer. So if you are up around DC, Baltimore area, then keep an eye out on the website, because I am going to have some events up your way, and hopefully I'll get to do a world building workshop or something there too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be awesome.
That's it. I just wanted to make sure that I told people in case they like parked before we got to the end of the episode, and then they'd miss it, and then they'd miss Central Florida. I don't know. It felt really important to me in the moment.
No. I agree. And I'm stoked about the world building session that we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's
really exciting. Okay, so why don't you tell us what happened last time?
Previously on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer. Recent orphan and seer Laureldale arrives in Laureldale when she has no family left and is now living with a witch, the head of the Blackwood family.
I'm so excited to see if I actually did it.
I'm so nervous. She is living with the head of the Blackwood family. She has been through her first week at school. She has tried to make friends. She has been traumatized again and again. She finally made it to Saturday, but unfortunately Friday night was kind of a kicker. Because after being threatened to help a kind of angry werewolf find someone or else, Laureldale finally gave in and used her powers as a seer to help find that person.
It was messed
Unfortunately, that person was very unalive. And was unalived in a very active and not so nice way.
Yeah. Oof. And
so that is where we left.
Experienced it.
Yes. And Laureldale experienced all of it.
Awful.
Including the victim, Clara's skin.
Yeah.
So she lived through Clara's
unaliving.
I know that we're not allowed to say the word because we're currently, so we've been doing this for the people who are just listening to the podcast. We've been taking the time to go live on TikTok and introduce some new readers to the podcast. And then we cut before we get to the actual chapter, so we don't have spoilers. So that is why I was avoiding saying the unalive word when clearly in the chapter I say all kinds of things.
Unalive word.
Clearly in the chapter I say all kinds of things that go against
For those
TikTok's
of you
policy.
on TikTok, this is why you want to listen to the podcast.
But I just wanted to let you know that is why that I didn't just say the good old M word like, Ella would. But that is the previously on for this week.
Man, okay.
I think I covered it all.
I don't even know. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, then we shall snap fingers.
Sure. Are we going to leave that part in? We snap fingers.
We snap fingers.
We snap the fingers.
Ha ha.
Okay, and we are back. That's always such a fun thing to do. Y'all missed it. If you weren't watching on TikTok, I just went on this whole diatribe about, okay, this is why we snap, because of sound waves.
It wasn't a diatribe, it was a TED Talk.
You're right, it was a TED Talk.
Diatribe implies negativity.
Does it?
I think so.
I guess so. Yeah.
I would, in my head.
No, you're right. You're the author. I trust you. I don't use that word very much.
That's never a good idea.
I should probably not use words I don't use.
Use words you don't use? Maybe.
Just look.
Okay.
Just let me have my moment. Just let me have my moment. Okay, I've had it. Thank you.
Thank you for in case that didn't come across the mic, our little boy cat just said. Meow.
Our little boy cat? He's a panther.
He's a panther. Okay.
He's huge. Okay. So, are you ready for chapter 23?
From the top.
From the top. Oh, you don't want to say, oh no, well, we haven't stopped yet, so no continuing. Okay. All right. So, without further ado, this is Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer by Megan O. Russell. Why are you laughing?
I don't know.
Chapter 23. There are worse places to wake up than Caleb Clark's arms. As soon as I'd huddled close to his side, I passed out and drifted straight toward nightmares. Before things got bad, Caleb's voice reached in. It's okay. You're safe. You're safe, Ella. Lifting me close enough to awareness I could scramble back to the bliss of pure black. Then the nightmares lured me back in, and the cycle started again. And again, and again. At some point, fatigue managed to outweigh the force of the horror show in my head, and I actually fell into a proper sleep. When I'd rested enough for fear to creep back into the edges of my mind, I woke up completely. The cocoonish weight of Caleb's arm around me made up for the weight anxiety pressed on my chest. I'd locked myself against his side, his perfect fey muscles barely comfortable beneath my head, my hand stiff from literally clinging to the front of his shirt. My eyelids felt puffy, my lungs hurt when I breathed, and my stomach swore I'd swallowed a spiky iron ball, but everything else just had the kind of ache I associate with having fucked up quite badly, like my body's warning not to try that shit again anytime soon, or I might not be waking up at all. I'd be happy to never do it again, I promised my body as pain stabbed from my brow bone to the back of my skull from the mere act of opening my eyes. If I hadn't been holding on to Caleb, terror would have claimed me in the time it took for me to blink twice so I could see, then process, that I was in my room at Kate's house. Shh, everything's fine. Caleb dove back into his comforting whisper as I tipped my chin up to look at him. I'm not going to let anything... I know. The inside of my throat still had a rug burn-like sting. I relaxed the hand gripping his shirt, not managing to straighten my fingers all the way, but doing well enough to let go of the fabric and move my hand to create a shitty barrier between my blood puke morning breath and Caleb's fey nose. I'm sorry, that is so disgusting. My blood puke morning breath.
I mean, it's what it
is. I know, but...
It's what it is.
I know, and the fact that... And from his fey nose, because he has that ultra-sensitive smell. Oh, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ugh.
Guy with sensory overload, blood puke breath.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He's having a rough night, rough morning.
Okay. I know a little bit about the night that he had. Okay. The fabric of his shirt stayed bunched in a The fabric of his shirt stayed bunched in a little tower on his chest, the wrinkles well set from him dealing with hours of my fucked up ass. Caleb brushed my hair away from my forehead, studying my eyes. I hoped it was just the red lines in the whites of my eyes causing the worried thinning of his lips. Are you actually awake? I think so. Without even thinking, I abandoned the morning breath shield and grabbed back onto Caleb's shirt, clinging to a previously unwrinkled section. Fuck. Think, Ella. Sun coming in the big windows, the faint scent of old house and coffee, general ache rather than gut-ripping pain. Caleb's arms around me, steady, solid. Real. This is real. This is real. This is real. No, breathe. Seemingly unfazed by my blood puke breath, Caleb wrapped his hand around mine and, shifting my head to his also almost too firm bicep, turned to face me. I didn't mean to scare you. You just did some sleep talking with your eyes open. Sorry. Of course it's fucking real. and you made it fucking weird. I closed my eyes and tucked my chin down like a cowering toddler, slogging through my too-tired brain in search of a way to say, thanks for putting up with my shit. Can we just pretend I'm fine now, even though I'm pretty sure you know I'm really fucking not? I feel like I should be bringing you toast or rice or something, Caleb whispered. Rice? My tiny single-huffed laugh earned a throb from my ribs. My dad always eats that when he's sick. He swears it's the best thing for humans. I'm Aetherian. A pleasant flicker of annoyance soothed less appealing emotions. I'm not human. I know, but I've never tried to help a Sybil before. Annoyance popped and vanished, leaving me with prickling guilt. You need to eat something, but I don't know where on the plain toast to raw meat scale Sybil's land. The corners of his lips rose just a touch, like a tester smile. I can run home and be back with either in 20 minutes, though if Sybils are supposed to eat entrails while healing, that might take a little longer. No entrails, I wrinkled my nose. God, nope. His smile grew, as did my awareness of my morning breath. Then what do you want? The temptation to take him up on his absurd offer and let him run to his house, make me some eggs, and bring them back here shone bright against my dread of meeting Kate in the kitchen. Not giving myself time to consider the consequences of leaving my refuge, I sat up, clenching my teeth against the pain, making it all the way to my feet in one smooth movement, having the sense to lay my hand calmly on the wall before the spin set in, masking my wobble as the room went for a fun little swoop. Caleb twisted, springing out of bed on the same side as me, placing himself to catch me, destroying my delusion that I'd passed for steady. I tried for a withering glare and managed a pained grimace. Why don't you sit? He looped around me, herding me back toward the bed. You're going into the kitchen? Say hi to Kate for me. He froze. I was kidding. He held up a finger, silencing me, letting a few seconds pass. I don't hear anyone in the house. Perfect. But she could just be sitting quietly. Then I'll go to the kitchen. He laid his hands on my shoulders, a gentle barrier between me and the bedroom door. I really can go to my house and be back with food in 20 minutes. Kate has food here. And if Miss Blackwood's sitting at the kitchen table, what are you going to tell her about last night? Nothing. I lifted his hands off my shoulders and squeezed past him to face my dresser. Not until we have proof beyond visions. Shirt coming off. The floor creaked as Caleb spun behind me. A chilly, wicked kind of thrill trailed up my bare back as I pictured Caleb resolutely facing the far wall, face rigid with the fear of bare breasts. I liked the way the tingle teased my skin. So much better than the memory of pain. Choosing selfish joy, I lingered in the pleasure, picking both a shirt and a bra before putting either on. I did admittedly sit to yank on clean pants, neither finding having my bare ass out nearly as entertaining, nor loving the idea of the numb-ish quivering in the back of my head growing into the spins and knocking me over, making Caleb rescue my ass-naked self, possibly causing him to never let me stand on my own in his presence ever a fucking again. You're safe. Nope, sorry, that's not Caleb talking. My bad.
But you made it through the Uber sentence so well.
I did. That's not the Uber sentence in this chapter.
It's true. There's a worse one. There's a worse one. There's a worse one. Okay.
Yep. Spoiler alert. There's a worse Uber sentence. A Megan O. Russell story. The Uber sentences. You're safe. I relieved Caleb's torment as I pulled on socks. Do you want me to bring you in some food, or are you heading out the window and I'll meet you later? Caleb turned, frowning as he watched me twist my hair into a bun-ish knot. I understand how gross I am. I promise I'll shower after. There's no way Miss Blackwood isn't going to know something's wrong. I'm sorry, Ella, but you look like you've been through hell. Wow. Caleb winced. You can't pass for normal right now. My naive dove. One need not pass for normal. I stood, softening my knees against the swaying of the floor, scowling as Caleb fucking reached to catch me. One need only pass for hungover as fuck. And as one who's lived above several bars, I know how to fake a hangover. Now, do you want me to bring you some breakfast, or are you going home? Awkward pause. Do you want to meet me at the truck and I'll drive? If Kate's not here, I can't leave. I don't think you should be left alone. He lowered his hands as he said it, like that might make me not notice him telling me I needed a babysitter. Caleb, you asked him to stay, Ella. You fucking told him you needed a babysitter, Ella. I dragged my hands down my face, gasping, then gasping again as first my mouth throbbed, causing a small gasp that flared a ring of pain around my lungs, causing a second, larger gasp, the pain of which capped the whole thing off with a pathetic yelp. And now you've fucking proved yourself right. I opened my eyes to find Caleb right in front of me, his hands hovering just above my arms, ready to grab me. I took Caleb's wrists, lowering his hands to his sides. Do you want to go around and knock on the front door like you're arriving for a morning visit? Or should we go wild and bet Kate's not in the kitchen? I winked. Want to strut right out the bedroom door? Caleb's whole body tensed. Front door it is. I headed toward the kitchen, stopping with my hand on the doorknob to whisper over my shoulder, Wait a few minutes before you knock. Slipping out into the kitchen, I shut the door behind me as quickly as I could without seeming suspicious, swallowing my whimper as the movement slashed hot pain across my back, turning the sound into an awkward hum of a tune close to the Star-Spangled Banner. No Kate. She'd left one of her bright blue notes on the table, a blooming tradition I could get behind. I grabbed the paper, scanning the details before calling to Caleb. You can skip the window. Kate won't be back until tonight. You're sure? Caleb murmured through the closed door. Yep. I reread the note, making sure I hadn't been lying. Last-minute request came in and I had to run out of town for the day. We'll be back late tonight. There's plenty of food in the fridge, but heading into town to eat with your new friends could be fun. Sorry I didn't get to hear about the party this morning, kiddo. Can't wait to hear later. Coffee's ready to go, just press start. Text if you need me. Kate. I reread the note a third time, making sure I hadn't misunderstood the cosmos's gift. Everything okay? Caleb appeared beside me, conspicuously not looking at the paper in my hand. I passed him the note. Fucking fantastic, actually. I cut around him, ruffling his already messy hair. Mark it on the calendar. Life gave us a damn break. Violet must meet us here, for we shall feast and plan. Caleb watched me flick on the coffee pot, his eyebrows slowly creeping closer together. Clinging to the burst of optimism that made ignoring the random bolts of pain stabbing through my body easier, I grabbed Caleb's hand, pressing it above my heart like I could funnel my excitement into him. Take the good moments. Is bringing Violet into Miss Blackwood's house the best idea? Bringing any of this near Kate's is an awful idea, but I didn't recognize the monster that murdered Clara. We need to figure out what that thing was, and there's no way in hell any Etherean in Laureldale has a better library than Kate. A library we now have unsupervised access to. And I took his face in my hands. I don't have to leave the house today. I don't have to be cold or muddy. We can snack while finding a murderer. That's fucking badass. Caleb smiled, and the world snapped away. The floor disappeared, and I fell backward. Fear tore through my lungs, but my body didn't break as I landed on rocks. Not rocks, soft, warm ground that didn't hurt. Too bright light shone down on me. I turned my face away. Caleb, lying beside me, leaning on his elbow, his smile crooked, his hand holding something I couldn't see. He brushed his fingers against my arm. I felt his touch. Gentle, soothing, completely terrifying. I couldn't rally the right kind of fear before the light around us flared, exploding, consuming Caleb, crackling, rising into a wall of skin-searing flames. Ella! Ella! I heard him call for me. I heard my own scream. I threw my mind toward the sound of Caleb's voice. Fire lapped at my flesh as I hurtled through flames and into darkness. Caleb, 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 Caleb. The darkness lost its total black. Caleb. Caleb's chest. I'd curled closer to Caleb's chest, covering my face, hiding against him like a terrified ass. I cut off my scream with a gasp. Breathe, Ella. Breathe, Ella. You're okay. You're okay. How many times has he already said that? Breathe, Ella. You're okay. Too fucking many. The pain blazing across my skin dulled to a harsh, prickling heat. I'm right here. He'd locked his arms around me, sheltering me from shit he couldn't even see. I've got you. The scent of brewing coffee had begun to fill the kitchen. We had access to Kate's library without actually having to deal with Kate. Things are good, Ella. You're fine, Ella. I've got you. Thank you. I spoke the words into his chest. The tension in his arms eased. Somehow, that almost made it feel like he was holding me tighter. I leaned against him, clinging to the temporary illusion of safety. I didn't want to let him... Nope. I didn't want him to let go. That's a very different meaning. Sorry. I didn't want him to let go. Not when the floor might disappear again. You have work to do, Ella. Hiding doesn't make shit better, Ella. Fuck. I eased away from Caleb, cringing at the new wrinkled patches where I'd been gripping his shirt and the nice tear stains I'd left behind as a center accent. Sorry. What happened? The worry in his eyes jammed a sharp stone into the front of my throat. Stupid seer shit. I sidestepped to the counter, escaping Caleb's appraisal and placing myself near a steady surface at the same time. Was it Clara? Nope, just random chaos. I headed toward my bedroom. Watch the coffee while I text Violet to meet us here. As a rule, I don't tell people when I have visions about them. It's not a good idea for me or them. But something about not telling Caleb what I'd seen felt wrong, like I wasn't sparing him from the shit in my head, but rather lying by omission. I mean, he knew what I was. He'd stayed with me through the hell of last night. He'd probably want me to tell him if I gave him the option. It would have been easy to convince myself to tell Caleb I'd seen him and felt his fingers graze my arm and felt the fire burn me, and how the fuck am I supposed to handle this? Because normal visions are bad enough, but visions that can touch me are fucking terrifying. I'd thrown open the gate in my head that was supposed to keep the visions out and screamed into the black, begging a host of awful to come find me, and it had, and I could feel the awful taunting me, quivering in the back of my mind as a constant threat to tear me into a vision, and closing the gate enough to make it stop was hard as hell, and I didn't know if I could actually fucking manage it again, and what if all my visions could touch me now, and what if it never stopped? But Caleb didn't deserve to have that shit thrown at him. Counting the rhythm of my breaths, I grabbed my phone and messaged Violet. Change of plan, meet at Kate's. Keep it quiet. I stared at my phone for a moment, balancing paranoia and compassion. A message from Violet popped up. There in 15. A curl of nerves in my stomach let paranoia win. If you haven't told anyone about Clara, don't. Not yet. I held my breath, waiting the few seconds Laureldale cell service added to the speed of a reply. No one's telling anyone anything, Violet's message read. Not until we can prove what happened to Clara. Does this include Luca? I typed and sent without letting myself consider how much a broken limb from Violet could fuck up my day. Luca can't know. I swiped away from my messages with Violet, pulling up my thread with Kate. The soft thump of closing cupboards came from the kitchen. Another message from Violet popped up at the top of my screen. I don't think he could take it. Pushing past that heart punch, I let my morality waffle for a moment before settling on a middle ground with Kate, sending her, Hey Kate, the party was great. Do you mind if I use the library today? My translation skills have gone to shit. Balancing not mentioning I'd have 2 other people with me by asking for permission to go through Kate's books. I tucked my phone into my pocket and promised myself I wasn't being selfish or sneaky by taking the time to duck into the bathroom to brush my teeth, brush my hair, slice my finger open, paint a little blood on my breastbone, do a quick little ritual to give myself a fighting chance of keeping the visions out, wash the blood off, and moisturize before collecting the sketchbooks and pencils I needed and going back out to the kitchen to find Violet and Caleb sitting across from each other at the table, coffee in their cups and anger in their eyes. Boom! Boom! Yeah, I did that.
I am so proud of you.
I deserve a drink.
That was amazing.
How many lines was that? That was 7 lines. 7 lines of unbroken text. I thank you. That's the crowd going wild. I ruined my own bit. Never mind.
You did ruin your own bit. But I love you anyway, and that's what matters. I love you too.
And I'm not going back and reading that no matter how many times you ask me.
Continue.
I didn't think you'd be here so quick. My attempt at a welcoming tone sounded more like a chipper employee desperately trying not to tell a customer to fuck the hell off. Been there. That was Chris, not Ella. We all live off the same road, Violet said. We should start a book club, I said. I made eggs, Caleb said. You sit. I'll bring you a plate so you can eat before we get started. Violet tipped her chin down. Shit. How about we jump right on in and take breakfast to the library? Not waiting for an answer, I fled the kitchen. Best to avoid violence in the morning. A growl, Violet's I assumed, followed me down the hall. My body cooperated fairly well as I maintained my momentum on the stairs, not making me grit my teeth until I rounded the landing onto the second floor and a sharp pain scrambled from my feet to my neck. Footsteps hurried up behind me. "What does the Blackwood Library have to do with Clara?" Violet asked. A wave of worry rolled through my too-empty stomach as we reached the library door, swelling into palm-sweating anxiety at the realization that Kate could very well have locked me out of the library. She definitely had 100 legitimate reasons to keep me out. Please, please, please. I reached for the doorknob, which twisted smoothly in my grip. Fuck yeah. I pushed the library door open before letting the panic in my chest snap away. Kate's library isn't just her family grimoire. I flicked on the lights. She has one of the best personal collections on the supernatural I've ever seen. Stepping into the room didn't offer a breathtaking cartoon library with a rolling ladder experience. Almanacs, books on local history, novels, and a brand new section of parenting books filled the only bookcase. Near the fireplace, a pair of well-stuffed chairs flanked a little table. The desk, hand-carved but not by a master, faced windows that looked out over the front garden and drive that led down to the gates. Old Blackwood family portraits hung on the upholstered walls. The paintings weren't dated, but I remember my dad telling me at least 2 were pre-Revolutionary War. I set my sketchbooks on Kate's desk. And Kate doesn't just have your basic Arthurian histories and witches' tomes. She has the creepy books that'll probably make her flip her shit if she finds out I let you dig through. Then should we not touch them? Caleb set a plate of eggs and toast on the desk. I snatched it up. Respect the furniture, ignore the morally gray choices. For those of you listening, or if you're not watching this far in the future when I post them, I just raised a finger like I was Ella. Acting. What?
Continue.
I snatched
I'm proud of your acting choices.
Thank you. I'm going to do it again. I snatched it up. Respect the furniture. Ignore the morally gray choices.
Don't boot my nose.
Caleb's fucking brow wrinkled. Monster Hunting 101. Looking through Kate's books won't cause her harm. I set my plate on the floor. Looking through the books could help us find a monster before it murders anyone else. I knelt in the corner where the fireplace wall met the wall behind Kate's desk. Get it right, Ella. Don't look like an asshat, Ella. I pressed my palm to the fabric, running my hand down the wall, using my pinky as a guide to find the 5 little symbols hidden in the design. Don't fuck it up. Starting with the topmost of the 5 symbols, something close to an upside-down flourished 4, I trailed my finger between the marks, winding a path that linked them all together. Come on. Look like a badass. I held my breath and swiped my finger across the last symbol. The wall softened beneath my touch. Hell fucking yeah! I don't know why that's my choice. Hell fucking yeah! There we go, that's better. I pressed my hand to the fabric, pushing beyond where the solid wall had been. What the hell? Violet's voice had a satisfying level of astonishment. The Blackwood name is known for a reason. I stood, facing Violet and Caleb, who also looked sufficiently impressed, before gripping the fabric and drawing the wall back like a curtain. Shit, Caleb whispered, his eyes widening as I reached the first of the Blackwood family portraits, which had merged with the tapestry, becoming an image woven in the fabric. I tucked the wall/curtain behind the brass hook. Behind the brass hook set into the edge of the bookcase at the far corner. I present to you the non-Arthurian section of the Blackwood family library. There were no brightly colored modern books on these shelves. Most were old, with embossed titles on the spines like Of High Demons, The Breath of Multitudes, and Goetia Forsaken. Some only had symbols on the spines. I recognized a handful of the markings, but could have only explained the meaning of a few. The books with blank spines would have been the most ominous, but the hand-bound texts with thick parchment pages definitely won the creepy award. The fuck is all this? Violet took a wary step toward the books. What the hell kind of shit are the Blackwoods into? Knowing what goes bump in the night. I grabbed Kate's desk chair, twisting it toward the wall. What are you doing? Caleb dodged forward as I started climbing onto the chair. She's still that bad? Violet said. I'm fine. I stepped up, making it almost all the way before giving the slightest wobble. Caleb grabbed my waist before I could even try to steady myself. I said I'm fine. He let go, but didn't back away. I ran my finger along the top shelf, trying to remember which book was which. I pulled out a thick black leather volume, handed it down to Caleb, and continued my search. Ella, this is a book on demons, Caleb said. Yep. I handed him a newer, maybe 1800s, red book with a black embossed cover. So's this one. Why are you handing me books on demons? Caleb prompted, like I'd only answered half a question in class. Because figuring out who killed Clara and where they dumped her... A tiny, sharp gasp from Violet cut me off. Good job, Ella. Finding Clara should be our top priority, but you can't help me with that until I figure out what the cliff actually looks like. I passed another book to Caleb. You can help me search for the monster that killed her. A literal monster? Caleb set the books on Kate's desk, offering me his hand as I turned to step down from the chair. I accepted the help, remembering why I should be grateful for him hovering like I might drop as the edges of the room went wiggly. I dug my nails into the palm of my Caleb-free hand. Stay here, stay here, stay here. The wiggling eased to an off-putting sheen. The monster, the thing in Widow Tomic's kitchen, it wasn't any kind of Etherean I've seen. I let go of Caleb's hand, taking the sketchbooks from the desk and sitting on the floor with my food, not chancing the sheen becoming a blast that would shove my mind into some new horror. Like Caleb on fire. Why was Caleb on fire? Representational fire. Breathe, Ella. Violet knelt beside me, handing me a cup of coffee like an offering that might change the past. Are you... She shut her eyes, her whole body tensing for just a flash, like she'd almost lost her hold on her soothing, don't freak the Sybil out or she might drop tone. Saying you think a demon murdered Clara? Maybe. Or some other kind of non-Etherean supernatural. A petty sort of satisfaction warmed my jaded heart as the big, strong fae and werewolf, who seemed certain I couldn't be trusted to breathe without help, both paled. No demon, or any kind of Erebite. Caleb used a fancy term that makes non-Etherean supernatural seem like spooky stories rather than real fucking people/things that exist and will kill/destroy/torture you with whatever kind of awful shit Erebites do to fuck up Ethereans who dig too far into the darkness and bullshit of this world and end up in the shadows where monsters and demons reign, would come anywhere near Laureldale. We're an Etherean stronghold under witches' protection. Murderers don't often care about keeping the supernatural peace. I set my coffee down before my hand began to tremble. Look, the good option is that the black, scaly, man-shaped thing I saw was a demon or Erebite. They both stared at me. You look through the books, find the right monster, yay progress. You don't find a matching monster, we move to the bad option, and whatever I saw isn't in any of these books. Meaning we're either facing some cryptid we know nothing about, or worse, an Etherean who's fucked around with so much dark shit they're not even recognizable. How do you think Clara could have gotten involved with, we haven't hit the really bad option yet? I cut across Violet. It never feels like it, but a Sybil's mind is capable of protecting itself. I only remember it happening a few times, but if my brain decides there's something in a vision I can't take, it'll block it out. Like making a murderer a black, scaly thing so I won't have to endure witnessing their true form. Violet scrunched her eyes shut. And that would leave us with no idea of who or what was with Clara that night. I fixed my gaze on the blood-stained sketchbook on the top of the stack, not wanting to know if my words triggered disappointment, anger, or fear. And if my mind is protecting me, it's from something bad. The bad kind of bad. And since I never met Clara and wasn't in Laureldale when she disappeared, my brain would have no reason to protect me from the past. Not unless her murder is linked to something that hasn't happened yet. And whatever is coming, it's gonna really fucking hurt. And thus ends the novel. Okay, I can only use that joke a couple more times.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
We are solidly in the last... We are in the third act of the book.
You saying hopefully about your own book is terrifying.
Here's the thing. My word count plan. What had supposed to happen was so theoretically we were gonna hit this point in the story at about 70,000 words. How many words are we at?
90,000.
Yeah, so that's the thing is that's
a novella length.
I want to be like, this is like we have 8 more chapters, but that's a lie. That's a complete lie. I admit that. We're not going to have 8 more chapters.
How many are we going to have, you think?
I'm crossing my fingers for 12 or 10, assuming 12.
Okay.
Just because I don't, it's the, I should have realized it's Bryant syndrome. So Bryant Adams is the protagonist in How I Magically Messed Up My Life in 4 Freaking Days. Mm-hmm. And Bryant's internal monologue is very close to my own.
Yes, it is.
And my internal monologue is wordy.
Yes.
So all of
I say like I know, but I know you well enough to know that it is.
It's all of the descriptors, the inserts of like, he said the word like the word that people use to make Arabites seem like they didn't exist and blah, 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 blah. Like if it wasn't that Bryant kind of voice, which Ella also has, that like pretty accurate representation of my internal monologue, though granted hers is much darker. Yeah. But it's that kind of pace inside my head. Without all those inserts that make Ella, we would probably be like 12,000 words less at this point. Yeah, so that's the same thing that happened with Bryant. So if you look at How I Magically Messed Up My Life in 4 Freaking Days, and let's say the tethering, they're approximately the same length, of story. Like the same amount of action happens in each book. I feel confident saying that. Okay. Bryant's about 10,000 words longer. Because of Bryant's voice.
Oh, I see. I was like, then this? No, it is not. But yeah,
no, Bryant is about 10,000 words longer than the tethering, and it has the same amount of action. It's just Bryant has that descriptive internal monologue. Mm-hmm. And part of me is like, man, I wasted people's time with my extra words. But the thing is, like, Ella wouldn't be Ella without those inserts and without those monologues and run-on sentences, because that is her thought structure. It is that almost complete anxiety-driven, long-running sentence of this is how everything goes, because I have to analyze the entire thing before I can get to the end of my sentence. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to do that. And yeah, the book could be a lot shorter if I took all those things out, but then Ella wouldn't be Ella because that is her brain. Yeah. And if we don't have it in the dialogue sections, we can't have it in the descriptive sections.
Okay. Yeah.
Since she is the constant narrator, it has to be in dialogue and description. And so it's longer. And I did not, in fact, account for this in my original calculations. Yeah. So my word count estimate is extremely wrong.
Well, I think that maybe you were, and maybe I am part of this too, but when you were first reading this, I was like, okay, she's kind of giving me some Enna vibes. I feel like maybe you were expecting her to act more like Enna.
No, I wasn't expecting her to act more like Enna. Well, because Enna
is so like
because Enna in the Annabelle Brea series is, her first book is Ember and Stone. And that's the thing, is she does not do flowery language. That is not in her thought process. That is not her as a person. She's almost incapable of anxiety. Like, she is so driven by trauma that she doesn't have the ability to let her thoughts go that far because it might get her killed.
Maybe not constant anxiety, but she does get anxious about those that she loves.
She does get anxious, but she doesn't live in that state.
In anxiety, yeah, sure.
Like, she doesn't live in that constant internal monologue, because if her thoughts go to, oh, he's saying this word because this word makes Arabite seem like a boogie monster instead of something that will fucking kill you, Caleb. Yeah. In Enna's mind, that's a knife to the back already. Like, that distraction is she's already dead because she took that long to think. Right. And so that's sort of the the difference between them, even though really at this point in Ella's story versus at this point in Anna's story, Ella's a lot more experienced with death. Sure, but she's gotten past the defensive stage to the embittered trauma stage. She's
jaded. Yeah. She's 17 years old and jaded.
Like, if she were in the musical chorus line, she would be like, can the adults smoke? Because that's like, she's just been through so much, she's looped back around to calm.
Okay, gotcha.
If that makes sense. And Anna, despite, like, Anna has had a lot of trauma, like, a lot of shit happens to her, but Ella still wins for the trauma goal.
That's crazy. That's, like, never did I ever think. Okay.
No, I'm not saying Anna at the end of Anna's series. I'm saying if we take them...
Right, at their starting places.
Like, Anna at the end of Anna's series versus Ella at the beginning of Ella's series. I'm not comparing those two. I'm saying at this point in each of their book one, Ella's life has been significantly more fucked.
To quote someone... Leave Anna alone. Okay, so I love this chapter. There's a lot that happens. I love it. Megan read to me. She was like, wait, can I read you the first sentence of the chapter? She's like, is that against the rules? I was like, no, go ahead. And she went, there are worse places to wake up than Caleb Clark's arms. And I was like, okay. She was like, she was like, isn't that great? I was like, yes, that's great.
Here's the thing is, I feel like I could start a friends to lovers or it wouldn't be enemies to lovers or something. I feel like I could start an entire romance series with that line.
Yeah.
Because you can pivot so many places from there. Like, do you like it? Do you hate it? It's because you almost died. Like, what's that perspective? Like, there are so many interesting places I could go from that line. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of almost tempted to, like, copy myself and use it for a short story.
Yeah.
Just to,
What?
Should I use it for the stories about Ella's mom?
You could.
I could use that for Ella's mom.
You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, you can. I don't know when you're writing this, but yeah.
I know when I'm writing. It's on the calendar.
Okay, great.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So fine. That in case you tell me all the details aren't going to work, the old details will
I'm sure the details will be great.
The details aren't going to work. He's going to be like, Megan, that's ridiculous. When are you going to sleep? Do you remember that you should, in fact, shower
well, actually, that's legit. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say details here.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I actually only have a few things in this particular chapter. I have a lot of questions, but I know that you're not going to answer any of them, so I just left them out.
I would love to hear your questions, though.
Okay, because all right. So I'll try to remember them then, because I was like, I'm not writing this down. She's not going to answer.
For me, as an author, it is almost educational. To know where your brain is.
Okay, all right.
Because I've never had like this test group to be like, that's where I led them.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but I'm not also your typical reader, like, admittedly.
Yeah, but I'm also getting that through the Substack group. I'm getting people commenting and being like, ooh, this bit, ooh, that bit. And I mean, I'm on book 32, so I feel confident in my skills as a writer. That feels weird to say.
No, good on you. I'm proud of you.
I'm getting a neck rash. But I'm confident in that. Ow, it really itches already. Wow, that acts fast. But using this new system where I'm really knowing readers' thoughts as we go through each chapter is so valuable to me, because I've never really noticed, like, I spend so much time planting seeds to be like, I want them to start noticing this. I want to gently re-emphasize this trait here so that when it's important in 6 chapters, there will have been like a little tweaky reminder of it, just so that like I can make sure that I'm keeping the information I need alive, so that people don't completely forget by the end of the book and things like that.
Okay.
And I work very hard on it, but I've never actually had the ability to know what bits of that read. Because I have the ability to know, like, people being like, I never saw it coming, or people being like, yeah, I knew that one, or like, you can get that from beta readers.
Right.
You can get them being like, the mystery was too obvious, I knew when they were getting together, and you can like rewrite those bits.
Who were getting together?
I'm not talking about that. But like you can do that with a beta reader.
God, I thought I got her.
But not until the entire book is done. And then it's really hard to pinpoint which moments didn't quite catch the way you thought they would. And so, no, having your questions is very valuable.
Okay, well, I'll see if I can remember them. Again, I did not write them down specifically because I was like, I'm not going to bother.
Well, now we know.
Oh, yeah. So I'll just write them down from now on then. Okay, so I'm sorry. You can tell me if you want me to stop calling you out this way on the podcast, but this, I felt like, I was like, this is art imitating life once again. We start the chapter off with Ella still in the middle of this cycle of nightmares. And popping out of them, and this just feels like you pulling from life experience again with your brain injury, because the first time that we went to see fireworks with our good friends after the injury, you had horrendous nightmares that night because of the sensory overwhelm, because we didn't know at that time that you had a TBI. We knew that you had sustained a concussion. That was it. So we had no idea, and that was a rude fucking awakening for both of us. She was waking up like nightmares within nightmares within nightmares. It was bad.
It was really bad.
It was
and
awful.
We were in a hotel room,
and not that like I wasn't in the nightmares with you, but I was dealing with it in the real world.
No,
holy shit.
I don't know if it's so much that necessarily, because I don't remember in the bad nightmare night. So what happened was, with my brain injury, I kind of lost the ability to tell which sounds are most important to my survival almost.
Right, you lost those filters.
So when I was in those crowds, and I've gotten better about it, I've learned how to filter sounds a little bit better. But I was in this crowd, and every voice around me was speaking at the same volume, which was absolutely awful. And then I went to bed that night, and it was like my brain was trying to process those hundreds of conversation pieces it had caught that didn't make sense because I wasn't hearing all of it.
Yeah.
And it was awful. So yes, like having those awful nightmares that are just like grabbing you.
Yeah.
But to be completely honest, I don't remember you ever waking me up that night.
Oh my God. Yeah, I did.
I just remember like nightmares and darkness, and then waking up and being exhausted and feeling like I wanted to vomit everywhere. Like I don't remember you waking me up. So it's really not based on that.
Okay.
So maybe like the cyclical nightmares of like, is this real nightmare within a nightmare?
Right,
or no,
which you can have without a TBI. I've had those before too.
But so the waking me up isn't, because I don't remember you waking me up. I was just stuck.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. I wonder if subconsciously, maybe
I think so, because you said I calmed down when you woke me up, so I think that you were doing that, but I don't have a conscious memory of that.
No, that's legit. I do. It was not a good night.
I don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you don't, because it was bad. Okay, so now moving on to a much more light comment. So you have this whole thing about her weird vision with Caleb. But something about not telling Caleb what I'd seen felt wrong, like I wasn't sparing him from the shit in my head, but rather lying by omission. And I wrote, what is the significance here? Like this vision that she has with Caleb. And also she can fucking feel stuff in this vision. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And
Neither does she.
No, I know she doesn't. But so this is something that she's dealt with before. Supposedly when she has opened her mind in this way before.
So the visions that we've seen her having so far have been her, with the exception of like trying to shake Noah's hand to see if she could figure out more about why he's screaming like someone's trying to murder him in a parking lot.
Right, with a hammer and what? What does he have?
He has a kitchen knife.
Kitchen knife. Oh, okay.
So other than her trying to get like just a little bit more of that image to figure it out, she's never really tried to put herself into a vision. She's been blocking out as hard as she can. Mm-hmm. So this is when she stops blocking. Like, this is what they would be if she wasn't fighting against them.
Okay. Oh, okay. So this would... Oh, okay. Interesting. So because of that shield that she puts up, she doesn't... Oh, okay.
But this is... If she did not have the ability to try and temper it at all... That would be all the time. If the gate was open in her head all the time, that would be it all the time.
That's so interesting, because I don't know that I know that like maybe it's happened in other things, but I feel like it's usually with mediums, right? Not seers. But I can't recall a time that I have seen someone who is able to see into the future, also seeing with other senses. Like it's usually seeing and hearing, right? There is no taste. There is no touch. Like it's interesting. So, could she taste stuff?
Wolves' senses are heightened. She was born to have a predator's senses.
You're being cryptic. So is it just wolf-born seers?
Every seer experiences things differently.
All right.
But part of her thing is that she was born to have a wolf's senses. That's what she's supposed to have.
Right.
So having truly visceral visions, almost animalistic in the way that they affect her body, makes sense. Whereas someone who's a dryad wouldn't necessarily feel it that way. They wouldn't necessarily feel the visions in almost a combative way, because that's not what they're meant to do.
Okay.
And that's why all seers are different. So this is not something that would happen to everyone, but should Ella not be closing or attempting to close the gate in her mind, then this would be the norm.
Something I really enjoyed in this chapter, and was just the fact that she's being so casual with brushing her teeth, brushing her hair, cut my finger open, put a little blood on me. I was just like, what the hell? It was very funny.
Well,
it was a great moment of humor.
Trying, like, it's the normality of the brutal.
Yeah, sure. So sorry, that was neither here nor there. I was just thinking about it while you were talking about that, and I was like, that was funny. Thank you. Weird non-focus issues. I can't say that I have ADHD because I don't, but I've got some kind of deficit.
You spicy. Spicy.
Am I neurospicy? Maybe a little neurocrunchy. Okay, so the last thing I have written is that I had talked to you about this. I was like, okay, so clearly Ella, she's not afraid of Violet. We've seen this. We've seen her deliberately piss off Violet, even though she knew she was going to get a punch to the face. More than likely, she was going to get hurt, right? But there's this one moment where she sees Violet tip her chin down when Caleb suggests Ella eat something before they get started. And I was like, how about we jump right in on in and take breakfast to the library? Best to avoid violence in the morning. It's like, okay, so she's not afraid of her, but she is a little bit trepidatious around her.
Well,
right?
because she knows like Kate's kitchen is going to get trashed.
She doesn't want a broken arm.
She doesn't want a broken arm. She doesn't want breakfast ruined. Everybody's going to get mad.
Does that pain lessen ever, like, from how much she's taken? Do you know what I mean? Or does she just forget?
What do you mean?
So, because she has been hurt. She's an Etherean. She roughhoused with her werewolf cousins, right? So she has been injured multiple times to a point that like humans wouldn't, like, that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So does the pain does she ever become a little numb to it?
I don't think it's that she becomes numb to it. It's that it's no longer shocking. She doesn't break her arm and go into shock. She breaks her arm and she's like, motherfucker, that fucking hurts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's trained her body to not lose touch with what needs to happen in a moment of pain.
Yeah.
So she feels it, but she doesn't normally panic from it.
Okay.
Normally she's like, okay, this shit's happening. Grit your teeth, keep going.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so on to the questions that I don't think you're going to be able to answer. Okay, one of them you blatantly will not answer because we're not supposed to know this yet, but still, this is the burning question in my mind, okay? And I'll tell you the reasoning that I am questioning it so much.
Okay.
But before we get to that one, representational fire. So that hints that in the vision, the light swelling to a point that it's searing her skin is not actual.
So if you see an impossible action.
Yeah.
In a vision.
Yeah.
She's laying down, she's on soft earth. All of a sudden the sky grows too bright to be a sky.
Yeah.
Is the sun exploding or is it representational? What's your better bet?
Oh, yeah, representational, sure.
So you'd automatically go to, okay, I saw something that is completely illogical and impossible. It means something.
But why was it burning her skin? Oh, God. All right. So then my other question.
But it would be the same as if she saw Laureldale High hovering above the city. Like, clearly the school's not going for a little trip in the sky. So what does it mean?
So then in her visions, I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. So in her visions, so we know that she has visions of the actual past.
Yes.
She has visions of things that could and might very well actually happen in the future.
Yes.
Like things that are honestly a part of a possible timeline.
Yes.
Right? Does that make sense? So then she also has visions that are interpretable. Like dreams almost?
Are weird catches that don't matter. So these things aren't going to break through. They're not big enough snags to get her.
Okay.
But because her brain is too open,
okay,
the weird can get in.
Okay.
So things like representational fire, like every weird thing scrambling into her brain has access.
So, okay. So this is not me like saying that this is what this is or even getting you to say what this is, but like it could be, okay. It could be that this is representational of this passion that she now feels for Caleb and whatever future this is. Like could possibly be.
Sure.
Or it could be that the relationship between them is going to blow up and burn.
Or it could be that the fire gets so bright she can't see.
What?
So there is light that takes over the sky and flames. So light can't really take over the sky, but do the trees above her catch fire? Is that what it is? Is she's getting surrounded by flames?
So it could be a real fire that's happening.
Yes, but there's that part isn't, and that's the thing is that there's no way to know.
So this is entirely unhelpful, is what you were telling me.
Is basically the thing to her is she's like, it's representational.
Calling bullshit right now.
Because what the fuck is she gonna do with that? There's nothing she can do with that other than say like, well, that part doesn't make sense. So if I get something else, I'll try to figure it out. But that's not helpful.
Also, who the fuck is the dead girl lying down? Anyway, all right, sorry. Just to remind people that that's a fucking thing happening. Boy, I'm being very liberal with my use of fuck right now. Okay. You're a bad influence.
I am.
Okay. So here's the question you absolutely will not answer.
Okay. I'm going to cover my face.
So you can cover your face. Okay. So this is really more for you. Hello, listeners. So I don't know about you guys, but me, and I don't know, okay? I don't know, but this making a murderer a black scaly thing so I won't have to endure witnessing their true form. And then it continues on for an entire other paragraph talking about how this could very well not be an actual Arabite, that this could actually be something that her brain is protecting her from. Is it her brain protecting her from something, Megan Elizabeth? Because that's where it feels like you're leading us.
Huh? Read on to find out.
Yeah, exactly. Read on to find out. Okay, you can unhide your face. So yeah, so that's where my brain is going. I'm like, okay, so the writing is leading me to believe, okay, but that said, you can't be fucking trusted because you're a writer and writers lie. Writers lie. So do actors though, so I can't like cast stones. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm this chapter raises questions. Doesn't answer them, it raises them. But I guess you did answer questions for the past 2 chapters, so raising some is okay. I'll forgive it. Ugh. Well,
we have information that we needed, and now we need to move on to the next step.
Yeah, and we are.
We know there was a murder. We
know
there is a body.
Missed a body.
We have seen where the body was left.
Yeah.
So now we move on from there.
I'm just wondering where these cliffs are. They're clearly somewhere around there, right? Because it couldn't have been but a few hours. And she wasn't able to transform, so she couldn't have run that far. Yeah. Sorry, my wheels are turning. Okay, so that's all that I have. So do you have anything else?
No, I think just stay tuned for the announcement of the new events. There should be some pretty cool events that I get to announce that I will be attending coming up soon.
You can't talk about the one you got an email about today? We're not supposed to talk about it yet?
Yeah, I'm going to finish the paperwork first.
That's fine. We're stoked about it, though. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it may or may not bring us into the Northeast.
No, we already said that it's bringing us into the Northeast.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Brittany. Come check us out.
But yeah, so stay tuned because there will be announcements about more exciting events coming up. If you are listening to the podcast, please do like, comment, rate, share, all those good things.
I really thought you were going to be like, comment, rate, shit. I don't know.
Rate some shit so the algorithm fucking knows you want to stay with us.
Reviews. There's a lot of cursing on this podcast. It's not really for me. It says it's a YA book, but there's a lot of adult language.
Yeah, she was puking blood, so I feel like we've gone past the cursing.
She was puking blood, and we still don't know why. Still mad at you for that one. Okay, so I think that's it. Like, comment, rate, review, and thank you for following along with us. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all for me. I just want to tell all of you out there, okay, this is for you. I'm looking right into the camera. These will get posted eventually. I don't believe me either. But it's still funny to say. See, I'm jealous of you in a way. I love living with you. I love the fact that you were my wife, that you were my partner in all things.
Thanks,
that said, living with the author that you want to throw the book at is really hard. Because I'm really wanting to throw the book at you right now because I don't know what's going on and want to now. Okay, that's all. That's all I have to say.
You sound like one of our cats who's mad they're not getting treats.
I'm like Yosemite Sam right now. Raisin. All right. Well, as always, thanks. Oh my God. All right. So we're going to go watch some. Sam? Oh my God. It's Looney Tunes, Megan Elizabeth.
Oh.
Raisin. He's like redhead and he's got this giant mustache. Okay, so I'm going to go educate my wife now on the Looney Tunes. Mel Blanc.
Educated on Avatar right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. We are watching Avatar. And what did you say about Avatar, Megan?
It's not that bad.
No, that's not what you said. Megan says, because this is Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm talking the cartoon. I'm not talking about that crappy M. Night Shyamalan movie. It was terrible. It was terrible, according to other people that I trust. But there's apparently a live action series now, too, that I'd be kind of interested in checking out once we finish the cartoon series. But we're watching the original Nickelodeon series because I was like, Megan, it's really good. It starts off very childish, like it really does, but it gets really deep, deeper than you would really expect it to. And she went, I'm a little resentful that I'm enjoying it as much as I am. I was like, see, and we're not even at the good parts yet. Like, we're only 4 episodes into book 1, so I am stoked for you to find out more. Okay, so that is all for us here.
And now to sign off yet again, please like, subscribe,
you already said it.
Rate,
doesn't matter.
comment.
No, we're good. Okay, all right.
Come see us at Central Florida Comic Con.
Yeah, see us at Central Florida Comic Con. We'll see you this weekend. And as always, thank you for reading.